Hello and welcome to Social Workers Rise, where we inspire social workers to connect, expand their knowledge, and change more lives than they ever thought possible. We will talk everything social work on every level from micro to macro. We are going to hear stories of social workers who are doing big things, learn new skills, and most importantly, give you actionable steps to make a difference today. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of Social Workers Rise. It is your host, Catherine here. I'm going to be talking with you today about the three things, well, I've covered two already, the three things that we need to defy the odds against us. So if it feels like your dreams are a little too big or like they're impossible, or you have no idea how the heck you're going to make this happen, then this is for you. If you don't have any big dreams or if you don't have any goals for the future, then you can just tune out now because this episode really won't help you. But for those of you who are still with me, I want to fill you in. So just a little background on this. I have a book coming out next month. Well, this month, February 6th, 2024. Very excited about this. I'm a co-author with 45 other wonderful women in this book. And I share my story around how I was able to defy the odds. And let me kind of break this down because it sounds kind of, what's the word? I don't know, egotistical or something when I say it like that. But before the age of 17, I was abandoned by my parents. I was raised in a single grandmother household. My grandfather, who was also my dad, or my father figure, he died when I was 7. My grandmother had alcoholism. Our house burned down. We were homeless for a time. So there was a lot of things that happened before I was 17. A lot of trauma that happened. And I really realized in adulthood, wow, I really wasn't supposed to be here according to, quote, statistics around what successful people look like, right? Because people who were raised by their grandparents, only 12% of those folks go on to have a college degree. And here I am with 2 degrees and a licensure, freaking killing it. What is the difference? Why is it that some people who have experienced trauma, people like Kobe and Oprah, and then they go on to experience tremendous success? I wanted to know what it is. And so I was doing a lot of reflecting in my own life. I did some research into other people's lives who really just defied the odds against them. And I found that there's 3 things that people do to be successful, to accomplish their dreams, even when they feel wild and crazy and they don't know anyone else who's actually done this. They have 3 things. I talked about 2 of them in previous podcasts. You can go back and listen to them. The first is mindset. You got to have your mind right. You have to be able to be focused, to be crystal clear on what this dream is, the steps to get there, or at least your next step, right? You might not have all of the steps planned out and your steps might change. Like if your house burns down, things might get changed up a little bit, right? Life happens, but always have that mindset and that focus. And 2, having community around you. So people who believe in you. For me, it was my grandmother. She was my one person, right? She was the one person who constantly would feed into me, would shower me with love, and would be the one to say, yeah, go get it, girl. You got this. And so for you, I hope that you have more than one person. But if you don't, as long as you can hang on to that one person and really be able to focus on them, because there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people against you. And this third step, which we're going to talk about right now, is taking action. So back when I was in college, I remember, going through my internship and meeting a lot of different types of people. And I would tell them, my dreams of, oh yeah, I want to help people. I want to change the world. I really want to make a difference. And people would say to me, Well, it takes a lot of money to make a difference, and you don't really have a lot of money. Or I had another gentleman say, you'd probably be a lot more successful if you had big boobs. Women with big boobs are much more successful. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how this matters or how this even comes up or how you even have the audacity to say this to me. But I'm going to prove you wrong with my small boobs. I'm going to be successful. And my fear was, because we always talk about fear, right? Is like we're scared of failing. My fear was that they were going to be right. And I did not want to prove those naysayers right. I wanted to prove them wrong. So every time somebody told me, oh, you can't do this because you're not rich enough, you're not smart enough, you don't live in the right place, you don't have the right family, you don't have the right connections, you don't have big enough boobs, you don't have whatever, I would say to myself, look, I'm going to figure this out. I might not have that, but I know that I have the problem solving skills. I know that I am creative. I know that this is what I am supposed to be doing. And I showed up. I kept taking action. I kept talking to people, even though I was an introvert and it scared the shit out of me. And I hated talking to new people. It would drain my energy and I would just have to go home and just unwind and relax, be by myself for a long time. I kept showing up. And that's what people do who have success is they keep showing up. Success is not an easy path. It is not one straight line. It is full of mountains and valleys and cliffs that you fall off of and snakes that bite you. Like it is painful. It hurts. It is sometimes a lot easier or feels easier to just settle, to just give up and just settle. Hey, it's Catherine here. I hope you are enjoying this episode. We're going to take a quick break to listen to these ads from our sponsors. Have your clients had a hard time finding a therapist through their health plan? The National Union of Healthcare Workers is the nation's largest union of private sector behavioral healthcare providers and a leader in the fight for mental health parity. This year, NUHW is working with allies to ensure that health plans maintain accurate, up-to-date listings of in-network providers. By eliminating so-called ghost networks, we can ensure that patients get timely access to care by finding mental health providers who are actually available and covered by their plan. Learn more at nuhw.org/networks. The next time you need continuing education units, I highly recommend the Therapist Development Center. When I started this podcast, I reached out to the founder, Amanda Rowan, to see if she was interested in being a sponsor. And she jumped at the chance to support her fellow social worker. TDC has helped more than 100,000 social workers pass their licensing exam, including myself. I love that TDC CE courses are engaging and relevant. Amanda and her experts give us clear and practical clinical skills that we can immediately apply to our work. Some of my favorites are the Edge of Life Suicide Prevention course, where Amanda shares her personal experiences, and their They Did What? Law and Ethics course that looks at real cases where therapists face formal disciplinary actions. They also have a great telehealth course. We are legally required to take continuing education to increase our competence, and most other courses out there don't actually teach the material in a way that we can learn it, but TDC does. You can also check out the links in the show notes. However, when we settle, I would challenge you to say, what is it's going to be harder? Is it going to be harder settling, being bored, giving up on your dreams, maybe not making the income that you want, not having the freedom that you want, not having the time that you want with your kids or with your family? Is that going to be harder? Or is it harder to actually get out there and do the things that you need to do so that you can one day have this success. And I'll tell you, I don't feel like I've reached the top at all. I feel like I'm really just getting started. I have a podcast that's recently ranked number 3 among all social work podcasts. Very excited about that. Thank you, listener, for being here. But I have a top rated podcast. I am a licensed mental health therapist. I'm doing mental health trainings for organizations and schools and associations. And also, I'll be a published author. But this is all just the beginning for me. This is all just the beginning. So if you are tired of your social work job, if you're like, I don't know if this field is for me, I would encourage you to continue to show up, continue to have conversations with other people who are in the field, who have different jobs, who are doing things that you would want to do. Because chances are, if you're passionate about helping people, about mental health topics, if you're passionate about learning and about giving back, there is space for you in here, my friend. There is space for you in this field. You are so, so desperately needed. The world needs more people like you who are willing to show up, do the work, and have good intentions. So please do not quit. Just keep showing up for yourself and just to prove them wrong. Those people who said that you couldn't make it, those people that you said, you can't get to college, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough money, you can't work full time through college. If that's you working full time, I feel you because I did that my entire college career and the struggle is real. It is a lot of work. So if you are doing this, keep on going. You are planting seeds right now. And all of those seeds are going to eventually come up and sprout. So please do not get discouraged. Keep on going. And this is going to be a short episode because I feel like I summed it up pretty well for you. And I just want to let you know that the book is going to be out on February 6th. You can get it for as low as 99 cents on Kindle. So if you want to support, please, please, please get the book, get the Kindle book, if anything. And this would mean the world to me because then we can add best-selling author to my resume. And it's not about that, but really it's about credibility. So when you have best-selling author, it makes people know, okay, this person's credible. Same thing if you have your license in social work. I know it doesn't mean you're a better social worker. Having best-selling author does not mean that I'm a better author or anything, but it's that credibility piece. It lets people know, wow, she's showing up for herself. She is really putting in the work. She must be dedicated. So I will leave you with this. If you're feeling frustrated and maybe even hopeless about your career, about your situation, do not give up. Make baby steps every day. Every day will lead to a different life a year from now. That means you're 365 steps closer to your goal. If you start now, if you just take one step every day, even if it's little, even if it's pulling up that college that you're interested in, pulling up that PhD program and just reading about it and seeing, okay, what would it actually take for me to do this? Right? And then showing up for yourself and say, okay, this is what it's actually going to take. Let me get one piece together now. Right? Or if you're the type to just work all at one time, just schedule one day and be like, we're working on this today. Whatever it is that works for you, whatever it is that your dream is, keep showing up for yourself. If this message resonated with you at all, please let me know. Also, if you want more social work resources, definitely tap the link in the show notes to sign up for the social work email resources. This is where I send you tips and tools and resources specifically for new clinical social workers. All right, my friend, that is it for this week. I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Social Workers Rise. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe and text this episode to a friend. If you want more, there are a few ways we can get to know each other and work together. First, definitely subscribe to the Friday resource email list. The link is in the show notes. And that's where you can learn more about the courses I offer, including Clinical Essentials for the Future Therapist and the Pulse Basics for Medical Social Workers. I'll also be sending out occasional tips and resources and other happenings within the social work industry. And for all your clinical supervision needs, be sure to visit risedirectory.com. This is a national directory of clinical supervisors for social workers, and we also provide free resources that you can use within your own clinical supervision. Lastly, if you have more individualized needs, I do offer coaching, individual consultations, and am available for public speaking engagements for social workers and change makers. Lastly, the boring legal stuff, but very important. The information in this podcast is not meant to be a supplement for therapy, professional advice, or clinical supervision. This content is provided as is solely for informational purposes. It is not legal, health, or safety advice. I am not advising you as a therapist. Organizations should engage their own experts to ensure any adopted measures are compliant with applicable laws and standards in their jurisdictions. The opinions expressed by individuals or organizations are their own and do not reflect the views or opinions of Social Workers Rise or Catherine Moore. References to specific products or organizations do not constitute any endorsement or recommendations by Social Workers Rise.